Hi there. Um, I'm Olivia Schroeder, and I must confess that I woke up today with thank you, two new mouth sores. There's something to me about the cusp in between sick and healthy that I typically find that I belong to in the middle of. Um, I'm definitely at mercy to the whims of cyclic neutropenia, which my father gracefully inherited to me. Among his 5 brothers, himself and 2 others suffered greatly without a diagnosis and without Neupogen. Louis and Matt died from infection during their teens. I'm very lucky to have been diagnosed at birth 20 years ago. Even luckier still to have survived the horrible first year, spent largely in the Minnesota Children's Hospital. My veins were too small, so they shaved parts of my head to put needles in. So it grew out funny. That year, what for me was infection after infection, so my parents decided to try my infant self on Neupogen, or GCSF as it was called at the time. We still call it the miracle drug at home because it saved my life. I've injected it daily since the beginning, and actually my parents gave it to me until I was 17. It's ridiculous maybe, but I'm still afraid of those injections sometimes. I will sweat for blood draws and request butterfly needles still. By now, I've grown up a little, but still experience the trauma that belongs with suffering. My functionability is very high, but I still feel much pain when I'm low. At this stage, my greatest symptom is fatigue, which is incredible because I don't feel as much pain as I used to, although I still retire to bed just as often. My body is sensitive too. I find myself wondering how much of me, my sensitivity, hesitations, strength is due to my neutropenia. How can I know? It's ingrained in me that Olivia is neutropenic. Priority. I go back and forth between acceptance and anger, plus denial still. Again, much of the time I'm healthy, but it goes back and forth, so how in the world can I belong to an average constant? It used to seem to me that there was absolutely no way for me to successfully exist. School was strenuous. I was always making it work. I went through very constant struggle over my self-worth for 18 years until a very wise psychologist told me that your core belongs to who you are. Neutropenia exists around it and not within it. I resided in inpatient psychiatric care at that time, an experience that brought my notions of reality and acceptance into greater view. I intensely studied coping skills every day for 2 months and have greatly come into myself. Sometimes I get so darn wound up and upset with myself. Like, Olivia, you've missed so many classes. Your grades are crap. You're worthless for not keeping up, which is a falsity. I have to remind myself that worthless doesn't exist. But really, my self-doubt can be tremendous. And how can I know if it would be so were I without neutropenia? I'd like to say I have this figured out. I'd like to say I can always communicate how I feel. But here we are. Sanctuary, you've made it. You are among support, and if you're seeking, I think you'll find others who are too. Seattle is where the first conference took place, which is quite a legacy. My father and I, over there, first attended when I was, I think, 8 years old or 10 years old. It was also here in Seattle. I was always shy, and usually with a fever and mouth sores and pulsing bone pain. The small lecture room was stuffed full of information-hungry neutropenics and family members fanning themselves. The kids' room was even smaller and had coloring books, board games, and puzzles to amuse us. I was sweet and made friends, but the first day, I snuggled in a corner with my copy of Little House on the Prairie. Little did I know that something amazing was happening next door. I think many had never met another neutropenic before, which happens at most conferences. I don't remember a whole lot of that first conference, except Dr. Boxer eating a hot dog and Adriana's long hair. I was young. From my continued attendance of these meetings over the years, I accumulated a remembrance of how scared people are and were. Middle-aged men experiencing illness for the first time, or new mothers with sick infants. Many who are new to this, when to me it was old hat. So I was shocked to realize the pain of it all. Even worse was noticing young children with glossy fever eyes and soft voices, knowing they're in pain. I thought anything but the kids, please. I've expressed many an applicable curse word over this stuff. Like I said, I used to feel a lot of anger. Eventually, I came about knowing I can't feel all those horrible resentments anymore, which came with the rediscovery of my self-worth. My struggle has been equally as much about that as with pain management. I hope that this weekend you may find a peace of mind, information, coping techniques, comrades you may contact, perhaps, connections you may be craving. The great advantage here is the abundant knowledge and support. I hope that if you're scared or upset or whatever you may feel, that you may find a way to express it if that's what you need. I found that by now my greatest advantage in coming here is to share that I have lived a very full and generally normal life, that I have success and happiness, that I am not neutropenia, I'm Olivia. So please attend carefully to these most wonderful speakers. They know these things like nobody else in the world, really. Together, we complete the perfect package of experience and research that I know we can all gain from. Give your full presence the best you can achieve, and please let yourself get what you need. There are people here to share their experiences who want to hear yours. If you can manage, let yourself gain connections. You are supported. And when you leave this haven, take with you the strength in information. Remember these skills you will receive. They've been imperative in my success. I live as neutropenia. No, wrong. I live as Olivia, not neutropenia. You are not alone. You are not neutropenia. You are not alone. Please enjoy.
Thank you for sharing your heart with us. One reason this event is so near and dear to my heart is when my daughter was diagnosed, I would have done anything to